It's Wednesday, June 24th, and it's Take Your Kid to Work Day. I'm Lily, Brian Teta's daughter.
And I'm Alec. My mom is Sara Haines, and she and Alyssa are on the podcast today.
Welcome to Behind the Table. Okay, so we know you guys are bored of our parents, and we know that you like us like way more.
Yeah, of course.
So please comment about us in the comments, because I love reading the comments on my dad's podcast. Okay, basically, what does your mom do as a host on The View?
Well, my mom goes on The View every day, and there's always a guest. She describes the guest and talks about it with everybody, and she normally makes everybody laugh with everybody else on The View, because they're like an entertainment thing to come and watch.
Yeah, that's a good explanation.
Thank you.
My
What does your dad do?
My dad kind of just like sits. He produces the show. He's the executive producer. So he's always standing behind the camera, and he's like helping all the hosts. And he tells the host what topics they're gonna do. He's their boss, I think, and he just like helps them and like all that. And a lot of the times he's on it for the show for like a few seconds. And then he was really happy when he got this podcast. He was like, yay.
Hopefully you guys enjoying yourself, but sadly, that's going to have to end because our parents are taking over.
I know, it's
Why
not
do
nice.
they have to come? Aren't you bored of them? You see them every day.
Yeah, it's just so annoying. We're so
Aren't
much
we
better.
so much better?
Yes.
Yeah,
okay,
come on.
Alec, what do you think Donald Trump is doing for this country?
All right, we gotta go. That's enough. Get out of here. All right, let's try this again. It is Wednesday, June 24th. I am here with the Wonder Twins, Alyssa Farah Griffin.
Wonder Twins.
And Sara Haines. Hello, guys.
Hello.
All right, so it is, in case you missed it, it is Take Your Kid to Work Day here. So it's chaos, basically.
Yes, a lot of little people.
A lot of little people. My daughter Lily's here. Sarah, your son Alec is here. Justin Jr. not ready yet.
Maybe next Take Your Kids to Work Day.
God. I mean,
that would just be
Please.
too much.
We just found out that during the taping of The Weekend View, apparently Alec and Lily kidnapped Cha-Cha.
Yes, they did.
And out of Anna's dressing room and took her into my office. And she's fine. She's been recovered, but it's
They
it's
heard
chaos.
Cha-Cha was here, and Alec was like, TV production, what?
Yeah.
Like, and just was like, ran.
The dog, yes.
So
Yes.
it's really cool to have them here. And,
Yeah.
and I think there's 12 or 13 kids from the View families here today. And it's a lot of fun to have everybody around, but it is absolute chaos.
The funniest thing is hearing what people think their parents do here. Because
Yes.
I was talking to someone else's daughter backstage, and she's like, I'm not really sure. Like, but
Well, when
what is it that
Sandra,
you do
Yeah.
they
here?
say, I sometimes I'm tired, obviously, at the end of the day, and I'm talking, and she's like, I don't understand how you're even tired. You, like, just go to work and talk with your friends.
Yes. No. And Lily was saying, I just sit behind the camera all day. And I'm like,
She said you shoot, too. She goes,
Oh,
you
yeah.
film.
You're filming.
Yeah.
I was like, Brian's holding a camera now.
Yeah.
For what it's worth, my husband busted out in a fight and said, you work for 1 hour a day. I'm like, my show is on air for 1 hour a day. That doesn't mean that's all the work I do.
I was going to say, I think I've read him commenting on the show, apparently. 'Cause
No, but
I see that in
I've
the comments.
also heard that. I'm like, you guys are literally eliminating all the other
all
things.
of the prep and everything. Yes.
No, my gosh. Yeah, no, I read that in the comments. They work for 1 hour. You think they could, yeah. All right. All right. Well, you guys definitely worked today because we had a kind of feisty first topic that I'm sure people are going to be talking about today. It was coming off of the Mamdani Mamdani endorsed candidate wins in New York. And all of the headlines in New York today are about Mamdani is a kingmaker. And the question remains, what does that mean for the Democratic Party? What does that mean for New York? And you were both very passionate about it. How do you think this is going to impact the midterms? Do you think this is starting on the political side, do you think this is a positive step for the Democrats, or do you think it's a negative one? How are you going?
Depends on where you're looking from. For the Republicans, this is a gift.
You think so?
I think so. Because when you're part of the Republicans, you want to make every Democrat out to be a socialist. That's why they find ways to put that in. And if you know their politics, you see them from moderate all the way to the extreme. They want to make them all socialists because that is scary to them, and they want it to be that way. So getting actual Democratic socialists who are problematic, at least one of them, in their rhetoric, the fact that that's being kind of placed on it. We're writing the commercials pretty much for the GOP. Like, the Democrats are literally just teeing up exactly how every Democrat is going to be
Framed.
framed.
Well, think about it. So, like, elections are ultimately come down to math. And I think that Democrats are definitely favored to win the House, but it's not as much of a grand slam now because of the gerrymandering and redistricting. So it's a bigger uphill battle than it should be, considering how unpopular Trump is and Republicans right now. So every seat matters. And the seats that Democrats are going to lose are moderate seats. There's seats like Mike Lawler, who's to the north of the city, who's like a D+1 district. Joe Biden won that district. Obama won that district. Those are the kind of candidates that are going to have to fight to hold on to it. What's going to happen is the Democrat who has a good chance of picking off Mike Lawler, they're a Republican, is going to get tied to these candidates just, 90 miles south. And they're going to say, she supports this agenda. She's just like this woman who wants to abolish the police, who wants to abolish prisons, who
wants to open the
insulted-
borders. She said
She said there shouldn't be any borders.
No borders.
And listen, like I think there were a few different candidates that won last night. This one Chevalier, I think that's how I'm saying it,
Highly problematic.
has no business being in Congress based on what she said, by the way, about Democrats. This is somebody who...
And she's someone, I'm not that familiar, so she was endorsed by Mamdani?
She was one of the Mamdani
Yes.
endorsees who took out a sitting Democrat who had like a 90% voting record with Biden. This is somebody who was like a standard Democrat or whatever. She has attacked Barack Obama, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris. A lot of these Democratic socialists want to burn the Democratic Party down. And I've seen that happen with MAGA. They wanted to throw out the McCains, the Romneys, and everybody.
And they did.
And they did.
Yeah.
And you could end up with something that you don't recognize if you're not careful.
Yeah, and some of this rhetoric that I'm linking a lot to the anti-Semitism and the views on Israel is, at the end of the day, if you don't want to hear those words, just think of it as literally anti-American. It's anti-Western culture. It's anti-liberalism. It's anti-equality. It's anti all of those things that make America great, that people love. If you love this country and you're voting for one of these people, really look inside yourself, because what you're voting for and what you're giving numbers and math to could be something you absolutely don't recognize in this country.
And there's this kind of myth right now that I think is a cop-out that I've heard from the far right, the Tucker Carlsons and the Megyn Kellys, and then from the far left, more of the Mamdani wing of the party, is it's not anti-Semitic to criticize Israel. Of course it's not. I've met Netanyahu. I've been in meetings with Benjamin Netanyahu. I am a critic of his. I think that the way he started conducting the aftermath of October 7th, I supported. I think after that, he has been a stain on his government, and I think that he should be replaced. You can
So that's
criticize.
something I haven't heard you say on the show, actually.
You
So
can
because it's hard in 3-minute segments, I know.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can absolutely in America criticize the Israeli government. That is very different than criticizing Jewish people, than celebrating the biggest terrorist attack on Jews on
October 8th, which
Yeah.
one of these candidates, the one we're speaking of, did.
Yeah,
Who
that-
goes to a rally on October 8th? It's not even a conversation yet. On the 7th, all we know is that there was how many people?
Over
1,200?
1,000, yeah, over
Yeah.
1,000 people
Raped,
killed.
murdered, brutalized, attacked. More, and they compared it to 9/11. Due to population, it would be 100 times worse or something. More people lost. And you go to a rally on October 8th. I mean, and the chant, by the way, at these victory parties, if you're all about socialism and, we want to make better money and all this, why was the chant just free Palestine, free Palestine? That's the victory dance. They're making, these candidates are standing on the anti-Semitism. It's not just criticism of Israel.
That's the important thing too, because Joy got into this because she and I have had this debate about she supports some degree of socialism. She'll openly say it. Her dog's named after Bernie Sanders. And that is a super legitimate position. I disagree with it, but if
Right.
you say it's all about affordability, it's about housing, it's about
Universal
that's not-
health care,
Yeah,
things.
that's not what these people were running on. The biggest rallying cries, the things that they were celebrating and that they were chanting the night of, they brought out Hassan Piker, whose entire personality is being anti-Israel, was about this very niche issue of Israel rather than affordability within the 5 boroughs.
So what do you-
Arguably, they're putting Israel in front of America.
Yeah, oddly, yeah.
So what do you attribute the success in this election for these candidates to? Do you think it's anti-Semitism, or do you think it's just a desire for change? Do you think it's because there seems to be a lot of the Democrats on the show have complained about the current lifetime Dems, the Schumers, people like that, and found them feckless. So is it possible this is just passion for change and this is who was presented to them, or do you think it's darker than that?
I think it's a combination. I think there is always break it down. We all understand President Trump and the right. And people like to cast all those votes. Some people that are anti-Trump are like, all those people are awful people. No, they aren't. But the awful people that are racist and a lot of the things they stand for did vote a lot of them did vote for Donald Trump.
Right.
There's a difference there, though, in numbers and math. Like, I think this is a complicated problem. A lot of the voters that Mamdani draws, and they probably did the other day, were young people. Young people have grown up in a time where life is not affordable. The generations now are not better off than their parents.
Mamdani right now, incredibly popular in New York, I would say. And probably more so than most people thought he would be when he was elected how many months ago and he was here. Do you think...
He's also doing some fun things, though.
Yeah, he's a great politician.
He's a very good politician.
He's got youthful energy. Like when he decides to talk about sweeping the streets because the Knicks are going to win the finals, he's dialed in. He's coming to where people are.
Removing bedtimes for kids and
and
things like that.
That stuff, by the way, it's what I've wanted at the top of our government. You know, there is a certain amount of onus on a president of the United States to bring us together, to celebrate with us, to charm, to tell us we're okay calmly in times of danger. Mamdani's filling that leadership role of joking here, doing this. But I think the young people he recruits have lived in a world that, one, may not know history. Two, and I mean that global history. Two, are suffering financially. They don't know about the jobs. AI is inevitable. I think the idea of the haves and the have-nots has gotten so far apart that there's a young group of people that I think have authentic reasons to like socialism. The problem is within that, they're scooping up a lot of problematic people that are feeding off the battle cries of these young people. Remember, some of our biggest problems with this were on our college campuses. Our institutions, our academic institutions, have had problems with the way they are all about diversity until it's diversity of thought. And we saw that blow up after October 7th. And a lot of these young voters are those people. Right. So they're coming freshly out of being, I don't know if this is too strong, indoctrinated at our liberal universities. And I went to a liberal school, so I know how this is. But
you went to one of the most liberal schools.
One of the most liberal
existence.
schools. Yes. And it takes time to undo some of that when you come out and just like really look at the world and you're out of textbooks, you're in the real world. But New York City is also a really hard place to survive. They're being chased out on cost. So all these people have understandable good reasons for thinking that it's not all dark and black. But there is an underbelly to this.
I mean, there's no question that Mamdani is a rising star within the Democratic Party. And like to Sarah's point, I mean, him embracing like the Knicks win, like he's good. He's dialed in. When he came to our show, he had stacked the audience with like stories he wanted to tell. So he could be like, this woman, I helped bring down her health insurance, you know, whatever it
rent
is.
Control.
He knows what he's doing. And I fault him though for the quality of candidates, because if he wants to be, listen, in party politics, you really shouldn't primary your own sitting members. But if you want to do that, then recruit people who ideologically you side with. But
Which
make
I
sure
think
you
he does, Alyssa.
Yes, the vetting of this, though, is he's going to have to answer for this woman who is going to become a congresswoman because it's a deeply, deeply Democratic seat, who makes even the most extreme members like an Ilhan Omar or something seem like a very moderate centrist person. And I just think for him, somebody is a rising star. That was not a battle he needed to take on. And finally, I'd say, and I mentioned this on air, you saw videos from this like DSA party last night of honestly mostly white liberals cheering that they want Hakeem Jeffries replaced. Hakeem Jeffries represents that next generation of Democratic leadership. He's not Chuck Schumer. He is very likely and poised to be the first black speaker in American history. And I think sometimes you could get so caught up in this burn it all down that you like actually miss the bigger moment.
That's interesting.
Like after the segment on air, and I know that like even talking about Israel sometimes feels like such a fraught topic in this moment that we're in. I got texts from two people very close to me that just said, thank you, we're scared over the results last night. Yeah. And it's not because that woman particularly is going to come after them, but it is the fact that we have normalized to such a degree anti-Semitism in this country. And it seems to be like the one ism that people have such a hard time calling out. And I can just tell you, as somebody who is 37 years old, I never thought in my lifetime I would see this level of anti-Semitism. And it's on the far left and it's on the far right. And it has to be condemned on both sides. And when you kind of start to see something creeping in from both sides, it's isolating and scary for Jews in America.
Yeah, and I would also argue that it kind of is summed up by Sunny Hostin's words. She always has said, we've spoken ad nauseum as we need to about racism in this country. And she had always said when she's telling a story, no racist will say, hey, I'm a racist. Yeah. The problem here is, I would argue, a lot of the people who are deeply anti-Jew don't even know it's creeping into them.
Yeah.
It's being mainstreamed in, where they're starting to say things like, oh, I criticize Israel, but then they're also shopping around conspiracy theories, because Mamdani himself has talked about AIPAC being dark money, evil money that's creeping in. That's a trope. And the problem is people aren't calling out the tropes, which are the inching toward the problem. And it's because of Tucker Carlson and a lot of those people on the right that are just, they're normalizing it, the left's normalizing, we're electing it, and then we're going to pretend it's not there. And that's the creep.
Well, one thing it's interesting because, Alyssa was talking about how it's a very different thing to criticize the government of Israel and to criticize the Jewish people, the Israeli people, Jewish faith. But to the point you've made, people knowing that those are different things can also hide behind criticizing the government and actually. So
that's what
J.D.
Vance said to me when I asked him off air about, are you concerned at all at what we're seeing? Because he's friendly with Tucker. That's a big firebrand on the right. He said, well, what we've got to start by doing is separating the criticism of Israel. And when someone starts that way, I'm just going to inform everyone, you're telling me what you're about to say. When you start leaning on that, anyone that keeps saying,
but you also acknowledge there are genuine.
I acknowledge that's the thing, but usually the first thing someone who is going to be problematic starts with, and I don't know if you've experienced this too, is they say, well, there's a difference.
Right.
There's a difference. You're stating the obvious, we know, but you're also maybe hiding behind it.
Right.
Well, I didn't get to ask J.D. Vance this, but in his book, he writes about the late Charlie Kirk and says that Charlie's views on Israel were changing and that he came around to believe that Israel has too much influence on American politics. I wanted to ask J.D. Vance if he thinks Israel has too much impact on American politics.
I'm sorry we didn't get to that.
Because he is the vice president of the United States. And this was a point I made on Monday where I think it's a bit of a cop-out for people in very senior roles in government to be like, Israel's influencing us, as if they don't have agency and decision-making. I'm not a Donald Trump supporter, but I think Donald Trump decides what he's going to do. I think that Netanyahu, of course, is going to push him certain directions or whatever, but it seems to be eliminating the responsibility from the actual duly elected commander in chief of the United States. And it's a remarkable thing if that's a position that his vice president shares.
Well, it's also intellectually irresponsible to not know the history of why Israel mattered to this country. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't about a deep Jewish state. In fact, Israel was more reticent at the relationship America wanted to make with it. To say, we need you there. So there have been economic benefits. There have been mutually beneficial things for decades. But read up before you start just battling the PR campaign of potentially terrorists. Because it's like they say, Iran's never won a war but never lost a PR.
Negotiation
and PR, because that is what is happening.
And by the way, a big part of this, not to go too deep on the issue, but we are at war with Iran right now. Foreign governments are all over social media. Iran is one of the most sophisticated nations on earth in influencing TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, Meta, Instagram, anywhere you're going. Young people are being fed an algorithm that is teed up to make them hate each other, to make them hate the United States, to make them hate Israel. You can literally pinpoint the sort of things that are being fed to our young people, and it is working. We know that this is what the Iranians do. This is something that is well documented. But the average young person on social media just sees, this video, this video.
Devil's advocate, Elon Musk owns X. Donald Trump now has a consortium that owns Twitter.
I'm saying all these.
That owns TikTok. Yeah.
And that's these apps are not immune from it because they're led by right wingers. Half of this anti-Semitism is coming from the right.
Okay. Yeah. Now I want to bring in Lily and Alec to discuss this a little bit. If that's okay.
I want to hear what they have to say.
Yeah. I occasionally make hard pivots on this podcast. I don't think I've ever made a harder pivot than the one I'm about to make now. Let's talk about Summer House.
Oh, God, I love this. This is really fun.
Yes, the second biggest tragedy the world's been dealing with. All right. I usually only talk to Alyssa about Bravo shows, but now Sara has a newfound interest, late to the party as she often is.
I'm always 10 years late, but I've arrived.
It's hysterical that when the world is talking about something, set your watch. In about a month and a half, Sarah's going to come in.
At least a month and a half.
Yeah, that's early.
That's me showing up early.
Last week, Sara revealed that she DM'd Kyle from Summer House.
Yes.
And I heard he responded. Now, to refresh everyone's memory, Sara sent manifesto.
It was long.
It was long.
It's a book,
It was
Vicky
longer
said.
than the MOU for the Iran deal.
Yes. and the response from Kyle was short.
But sweet.
but very sweet. He appreciated the support.
It was basically not going to read that essay, but thanks for reaching out.
He's like, I saw a lot of this blue.
Honestly, if you didn't have your kids and husband prominently featured, he probably would have given you a lengthier response and flirted back.
would have been a little slipping in the
yeah,
DMs.
exactly.
No, it's just watching. I've watched season 10. I've watched the reunion. I have a hard time watching Kyle try to get people to listen to him because I'm picking up on the fact he drinks a lot, all the things. But the amount of times he in words where he's slurring and like alcohol, any addiction, it's self-medication. He's clearly self-medicating. And when he goes to say things, he says over and over, I am I crazy? Like, does no one see this? And I felt the need to scream at my TV, I see you, I hear you. Because he was being like completely bullied and demeaned and excused. And like the way I look at a marriage for both partners, just not just the man, but the woman is, or the woman, man, whatever you're doing, it's a mutual respect.
Yes.
I think the biggest offense you can make in a marriage is that public disrespect for your partner. Not being upset or speaking honestly, but giggling and laughing about him in crowds
I would
and never going near him. Like it broke my heart to watch how often he begged for just a little affection. Nothing.
They also revealed they hadn't had sex in like 4 years. And I think at that point, like that's you need to go to therapy. You need to deal with an underlying issue. And the other thing is Kyle's super open that his business is struggling. He has major financial issues. He's in significant debt with his business, Loverboy, which by the way is actually a lovely cocktail.
I haven't tried it yet.
You would like it, like a little summer spritz. And then we find out Amanda this whole time isn't even paying rent. So your husband is stressing himself out, keeping himself awake at night, trying to provide for you. And you're just kind of sitting around coasting. Like, I'm a feminist, like contribute, like pull your weight, like not only like be an equal partner to him, but if you see him like working around the clock, you should also be trying to
But
contribute.
if you're not working and you're not paying rent and you're
What are
getting
you
high
doing all
every
day?
night,
Yeah.
I would say that if I were her friend or someone advising her or a therapist, I would say, you're never going to be happy in a relationship until you find your own self-worth and purpose. Like
And
she doesn't have it. So-
Lindsay kind of tried to say that to her in the like aftermath episode. She basically, Amanda kind of revealed, I'm not even sure that she's into West. It was like, I felt fun again. I was out. I wanted to go out and I wanted to party. It's like, you're in your 30s. Like, that's fine. I like to go out too. But like, you're probably looking for a happiness that you don't have. And you're turning to like a guy who happens to be bringing you to like West Village bars, like to answer all your problems. Like, this is not going to fill that hole of unfulfillment and unhappiness.
Well, and I think that for her, she's like a lily pad jumper. My reason that I have theories, these are not confirmed. I don't know anything. Kyle wrote a very one line. I don't have intel, but I believe that maybe the affair predates what they're sharing is because if you watch all the clips and seasons of Amanda, she's not someone that makes a bold move. She'd stay in a marriage not having sex, which she's the one saying no, it seems like, for 4 years and withholds it. Is to the point of complete contempt of her husband, which is hard to come back from. You're staying and all of a sudden you're brave enough to move out, stay in a hotel for 2 nights, get your own apartment.
Never mind this. Would you ever hold somebody like
my God.
this?
if Brian, if you ever hugged me and held the back of my head, like West hugs her, a married woman, like this, and holds her head. And the only other person he
Intimate.
does that to is Sierra, who he was intimate with.
Yes.
But I feel that she got the strength to leave, to jump from
Because
one
she had
lily
another
pad
guy.
to the other lily pad.
Yes.
Very interesting. Now, I am
Very
interested.
interesting. That I almost believe it sounds like joy. Okay.
Okay, moving
Moving on.
No, here's my question. So he wrote back to you with one line.
Well, it was like 2 lines. It was thank you
lines.
for your support. I appreciate it.
Did you write back again?
No. I'm not dating him.
No, I know. Well, not with this attitude.
No, but by the way, it hits me that I have so many thoughts. So as I'm watching, even in the city,
You're like
or the
wanting to
city,
follow up
I'm
with-
like, I got thoughts, and I'm like, Sarah, do not.
Do
unload.
not.
This is like every other guy I scared away in my 20s. By the way, I'm not hitting on Kyle. But
To be clear,
to be clear, but I also find it interesting jumping back, hard pivot to Amanda and Wes going out and her feeling fun. She had talked forever about wanting a family, and
Yeah.
she's 34.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that's old, but if you're transitioning to I want to settle down and I want family, you don't have forever.
Yeah, dating West and going to West Village bars is not the way she's going to get where she wants to be.
No.
All right. On every episode of Summer House, there's a big party. They have these giant parties at the house. Now, Sarah, I heard your goal is to try to get into one of these parties.
Do you want to go?
I would love
Let's
to.
go this
Hamptons
summer.
weekend.
Yes. I want to.
I'm pretty sure they'd let us in.
Let's DM Andy Cohen.
Yes.
And we're going to get in.
This is amazing.
Okay, like
We wouldn't let them shoot us, but we'll take selfie videos.
I don't think we would have to try that hard. In my experience, at least when I was younger and attractive, girls could just kind of show up to parties.
Yeah, but what I'm envisioning is like the hot seat interviews. Like I want to be there.
Oh,
I want
but
to
you
see
wanna
it, but
give
I also want to be like,
commentary.
hey, I just want to talk to you, Sierra. Come on over here.
I do want to be best friends with
Yeah,
Sierra.
and then it's
so.
going to be hard to cut us because I'm just going to be.
We're going to be
holding
such
court.
staples of Summer House. They're going to need to keep us.
All right, so now we have a goal. This is
Going from ABC to Bravo.
Yeah, this is what we're going to do on our hiatus.
Yes. Yes.
Very exciting. All right. That's all the time we had for this Unhinged podcast. Thank you for joining me today. Tomorrow, I'll be back with Anna Navarro. We'll have another live show tomorrow, and we'll see you then.